Once upon a time, or rather several centuries ago, Scotland's crown jewels and royal ambitions had their very own penthouses, Edinburgh and Stirling castles. Perched like stubborn goats on rock and hill, these fortresses once glittered with crowns, tapestries, and the occasional panicked monarch. But like all great landlords, Scotland suddenly lost interest in keeping the rent paid. After James VI wandered south to London in 1603, the castles entered a golden era of neglect. Edinburgh, the grand old lady of Castle Rock, saw its palace rooms empty and drafts moving furniture where no one would notice. Stirling, overlooking the River Forth and the occasional battlefield, watched its royal guests trickle away like people leaving a bad party early. Roofs leaked, walls cracked, and ceilings groaned like a man who's just remembered he left the haggis on the stove. By the 18th century, both castles were effectively military Airbnb hostels. Edinburgh's vaults doubled as prisons, housing French, American, and Spanish prisoners who probably complained about the lack of room service. Stirling converted its great hall into barracks, and the Chapel Royal became a lecture hall, if only those lectures included how not to let your castle rot. Meanwhile, the locals, seeing centuries of stone lying around like abandoned Lego, decided it might make a decent wall or farmhouse. Stone theft became a cottage industry. Walls went up, roofs got patched, and Edinburgh's Castle Rock quarries did brisk trade. Kildrummy and Doon, once proud fortresses, were slowly disassembled by anyone who fancied a new farm wall. If these castles could talk, they'd have called the neighbors resourceful freeloaders and added a sarcastic wink. The pièce de résistance of folly, Robert Burns, Scotland's national poet, scratching a biting Jacobite verse into a Stirling window in 1787, a verse to Hanoverian neglect, he made his feelings known, then smashed the glass with a riding crop when he remembered treason charges were a thing. One can imagine the window sighing, finally some attention. By the 19th century, Romanticism arrived, led by Walter Scott and a national guilt complex. Suddenly, everyone wanted to save the castles they'd ignored for centuries. Restoration kicked in, slowly at first, then with a vengeance. Stirling regained its Renaissance glory, Edinburgh got its war memorials and polished battlements, and the ghosts of neglected garrisons could finally nap in peace. Today they thrive under careful stewardship, millions of visitors, guided tours, falconry, and historical reenactments. From ruinous barracks to UNESCO-worthy icons, these castles went from forgotten heaps of stone to icons of Scottish pride. And while their past neglect was tragic, it's also endlessly entertaining. Proof that even the grandest of fortresses can survive decades of indifference, bad neighbors, and one poet's temper. From rubble to royalty, proof that even